Hi, this is Lynn the Mystic Chick, June 28th, 2026. I bring channeled messages for the Jewish people from Ezekiel, my guide. I do this because I love the Jewish people. I love their zest for life, their intensity, and their curiosity. And I know many of Jews now are confused at what is happening in the world with Israel showing an ugly side they never thought they would see. I bring messages from Spirit and especially Ezekiel, who cares deeply about what's happening in the Jewish community today. So have a listen and see what you think. First, I asked him, Ezekiel, you've seen how the world is turning against the Israeli army worldwide. Are all Jews in different countries getting a hard time from Gentiles? He said no, only Israeli army on vacation in other locations. Do you have anything to tell the world Jews both in Israel and in other countries? He said, yes, it seems that no one suspects that systems are changing worldwide, and that is why the Israeli war is so influential in taking people's attention from it. You see, the Israeli war is a distraction while surveillance systems are implemented. Reactions to that new tech would be much stronger if that was all you heard about in the news. But does the world's hatred matter at all in the case of the Israeli war? No, they will just keep on going, keep on killing until their objective is reached. But many Jews will resist and go to battle with their brothers, the Israelis, mocking them as they go. But the big question is, will the Gentiles take up arms against the politicians and counterfeit rulers? For the measure of the mighty is how much they can oppress the population. They carry on with no measure of restraint. For these people make the system and wield it with impunity. Because of roots in the Jewish system of religion, these key people in governments can operate with much support from influential and wealthy Jews outside of Israel. However, many of those influential Jews have resisted those who wish harm, and they were suppressed. The idea of retribution runs deep in this segment of the Jewish population, the elite, which are the elite Zionists and their minions. But sentiment is rising among non hateful Jews against these perpetrators. However, they do not realize how they still contribute to their cause. Monetarily, yes, but also for hatred to be allowed to flourish. In connecting the Torah with a literal interpretation instead of a symbolic one, for many texts have been altered in favor of hatred and many stories of cooperation left out. Rungs in a ladder that only goes downward. But ordinary Jews did not know of this deception. They only knew the difficulties within Judaism's writings. There were always differences of opinion in Judaism, but it was made to seem like all one teaching while emphasizing the division and cutting the compassion. Many minds have strayed too far down the pathway of hatred, while good people's voices were muted. There has always been great differences in the attitudes and philosophies of Judaism, but one thing remains constant, and that is the knowledge of God as a source of creation and creative energy on the earth plane. This remained constant. And thus Judaism changed and adapted, especially in the modern era. Can you see how it's changing now? Every child that's killed writes its pain in the hearts of young Jews, mostly outside of Israel, causing them to question what they were already questioning and sensing that something in the Jewish collective is deeply flawed. Conscience battles a historic perspective that is completely devoid of conscience. Love of the Jewish collective is beginning to look back at itself and wonder, in shock and horror, how their collective could have been so divided and separate without ever seeing it throughout the ages. The manner by which those having power and influence has always been in the writings, invisible. The question now is, when will the Jews divest themselves from that current? The current that will lead them to be hated by the world's people. So I asked a question of Ezekiel at this time. I asked, Ezekiel, what advice do you give to Jews inside and outside of Israel who don't want more bloodshed? From what I see, Jews in North America and Europe are living wonderful lives, integrated in the society, but are still free to be as Jewish as they want, providing that they are nonviolent and civil to others. Ezekiel's answer? To them I say, grow towards a deeper understanding that your place in Gentile society does not have to be fraught with fear. For great measures are taken on both sides to ensure peace and cooperation by the greater portion of society. You can see this with your own eyes. Can this not be implemented in other places? Is it not better to refrain from thinking one thought of retaliation when your coffer is full and your storehouse is overflowing? For measurement and comparison with intention to injure cannot come to conclusions of peace. Instead, fight with the intention of categorizing the many ways you may benefit from seeking each other's well-being. Those with war in their hearts are very intent on killing compassion and replacing it with fury, chaos, and the absence of discernment. You must instead know the history of your own experience of peace and nonviolence and recognize those in your group who have the will of destruction. For their hearts are black and will stain anyone who positions themselves within their reach. For chaos and hatred are all they know. It is time to know who you are and who they are, and to make your own future. Carry with you the tools of peace and the intention of peace, and you will be led away from them to a safer place. There is much violence in the hearts of some of those in your culture. Realize them by their imprint on society and by what they say. Can they respect others? If not, they will seed chaos. If you are building a new relationship with the world, learn the ways of refuge and protection against the authors of hatred and chaos. Breaking away from the chaos makers will not be easy in your society, but carry yourselves apart from them, and it will be so. End of transmission. Thank you, Ezekiel. I should mention that I'm getting the message that for those Jews who want to separate from the others and just have peace with Gentiles on an equal footing, that officially do so, just like other groups have broken away from the official line, like Reform Jews, Reconstruction Jews, the other groups. So there's that. And if you would like to hear other messages I give from Ezekiel, and this is about a year or two ago, please go to Rumble, where my channel is called Channeled with 2 N's and 1 L, and Brighteon, where my channel is named Invermere with an E on the end. So thank you for listening, and hope this helps.